Hello, everyone. We are back. Okay, so Quod Libet has been armed, not quite to the teeth, but it's certainly a start. After all, it's not a warship.
It's just a pirate ship.
Is that where this is headed?
Have I not been telegraphing that well?
It's a merchant vessel, so yeah.
Yeah. I have two things I would like to do in town. I would like to swing by and hug Ingril's neck if she's still at the embassy. And I would also like to talk to the union, the Dirtfolk Union Guild.
Okay. And Viper, you're tagging along with V.
Yeah.
Okay. Dorothy.
Unless we're simultaneously arranging that meeting with Wilmer and Hennett, in which case I'm going to go to that. But
Dorothy, are you meeting up with the other two, or?
I don't think I'm gonna go see Ingril because it's a lot of emotion there. I don't want to deal with that.
Ew, feelings. Okay.
Okay. Do you send word ahead that you're coming to visit Ingril, or do you just show up?
I suppose the polite thing is to send word. Yeah, I'll let them know ahead of time.
Okay. It's gonna cost you 1 silver to send a messenger.
I fling my hand dismissively at this expense. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
throw a coin at the nearest street urchin.
Okay. So you arrive at the townhouse, and there are no guards around it. I think the last time we saw it on screen, there was still the quarantine. I could be wrong about that, but at any rate, so the two of you arrive on Gentleman Moose, and he's familiar enough with the townhouse that he happily goes inside of the stables that are sort of in the basement part of the townhouse.
He knows where the apples are kept.
Yeah. Squeezes in there, and the two of you. So obviously you were living there for a while. Do you just walk in like it's home, or are you knocking?
Do I still have a key?
You
I probably
probably
still
do.
have a key. Yeah, I sent word that I was coming.
Yeah.
So I'll just saunter in like I lived here for a while.
Okay.
I go, hello, Ingril, we're home.
We're in the parlor, dear.
Excellent.
And so the two of you go to the parlor just around the corner from the entrance. And Ingril is sitting in one of the large couches in sort of the corner. If you recall, they're arranged in a U shape around a table in the middle. And next to her on the adjoining couch is what appears to be a Kadam at first glance. She has like blue-gray fur, but you notice in a couple of spots around like her neck and around her temples, she's got black scales. And they sort of poke out, kind of like, almost like rough feather ruffs, kind of. Like they're long, sort of like stretched, rounded hexagons poking out around the temples and the back and sides of the neck, poking up out of her collar. And she's wearing very fine clothes, just like the height of fashion. And Ingril as well is wearing her fineries, and they've got a pot of tea on the table near them. And Ingril says, "Ah, Madam V, Viper, what a pleasure. Why don't you join the two of us? This is Violet Broadwing." And
Oh, hello.
Violet stands up to shake both of your hands, reaches up as you two loom over her.
An absolute pleasure. An absolute pleasure.
She nods and says, "Ah, yes, I have heard a great deal about the two of you from my grandfather.
Nothing but good things, I hope.
Ah, yes, he was most impressed with the lot of you at the dinner party after the opera, as well as your performances in the show itself."
Oh, what a night.
Yes, that aftermath, that terrible attack upon this very house was most terrible.
Truly. Really couldn't have been happier with the show itself, though.
Yes.
Let's talk about the important part.
Mhm.
How good I was.
Out of character, after the whole matter with decency got sorted, did you continue the performances of that particular show, or did that production get canceled?
Is there a reason to cancel that show?
I mean,
The lead's gone.
Oh, right.
Viper could continue to fill in for him, or
That's
you
true.
could have found someone else to fill
Let's
the
be
role.
real, the fact that it went okay that one time was a fluke. Viper.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Because that could stop a production, but it wouldn't have to. If we had an understudy for it, who wasn't Viper, then we might have given it a go.
Just gonna have like a human or a saurian playing the giant lead.
Yeah, that's not super good optics.
On the business side of things, like the money was always already sunk into the production, right?
Yeah.
So canceling it after opening night.
Yeah.
Dorothy, you were the stage manager. What are your views on keeping the
Yeah.
show going?
How did that go?
The show must go on.
Okay,
Let's go on.
we figure it out. So we figured it out.
Dorothy, did
Surely
you?
there are other giants in town who can act.
People can wear stilts.
That is true. I was going to ask, did you find someone new, or did you hammer Viper into the suitable replacement?
No, we had understudies.
Listen. The lead can be anything as long as the antagonist is stunning. And we already have that.
Well,
That's irrefutable. So
yes. In that case, Violet says, "Yes, your follow-up productions were quite excellent. I'm glad I was able to catch one of them. All of you were very stunning."
Thank you. So I'm so glad you had the opportunity.
Yes. So, Ingril says, "Violet here was sent by her grandfather as a potential scout, we'll say." And Violet says, "Yes, let's be frank here. We're all friends. My grandfather wants me to accompany you on your voyages to earmark any possible profitable opportunities."
As he would.
Mm-hmm.
What are you interested in doing?
I'm interested in providing for my family.
But what are you interested in doing?
Give me an impress check.
Would love to.
Have you ever considered acting?
Have you ever considered piracy? That's a 14.
It's just acting with live ammunition.
um, Yeah, she says, truly, that is what I'm interested in doing. The family means a great deal to me. I'm sure now that the blockade has been lifted, there's going to be many opportunities for investment and potential gain out there in the wider world.
Certainly. Although the Broadwing family has already done such a good job of taking care of itself. I anticipate you'll have no trouble carrying that through.
Yes, of course. And Ingrel says, and in compensation for these opportunities, Lord Broadwing has very kindly offered to subsidize our voyages.
Well,
And, like, gives you kind of a pointed look. As a reminder, like, this first voyage, kind of used up all the money that Ingrel had to back the ship, and was hoping for some kind of return on the investment of this initial voyage.
oh, we did immediately spend all that money, didn't we?
I still have mine.
Be invested.
Yeah,
Which definitely helps the situation at the embassy for sure.
definitely, absolutely.
Have 2 heavy ballistae.
um, uh,
How much
wonder-
did they invest in us?
Ingrel, I don't have a hard number, but like the embassy paid for all the crew and all the food and supplies on the initial voyage. So
We'll call it a chunk.
yeah, if we were going with like say 5 silver a day per person, y'all were out there for, we'll call it a week, right? So 35 silver times 30, plus food and supplies. I mean, I guess there's 3 of the crew you don't gotta pay.
well,
Ouch.
well, we're gonna make that up anyway. I sit down, I think, on the couches, and I say, so have you ever been on a boat?
Violet says, before the blockade, when I was younger, I think she looks to be in her like mid-20s. So she would have been like, a teenager when the blockade went up.
Yeah. Well,
Viper sits on the table
Matt.
because I refuse to use any surface for its intended purpose.
Viper is gay, confirmed.
Yep.
Need one of those chairs. The angled chair.
Yeah.
And she says, well, I can show you what we found on our maiden voyage. and she holds out her arm and starts pointing out scars. And she said, "We found one of these. And we found one of these." And she kind of pulls her collar down. She says, "We found one of these," etc., etc.
Give me an intimidate roll, Viper.
Can I assist?
Absolutely. How are you assisting?
Jazz hands.
I don't think I ever actually took any damage from those fights. But
You just ran screaming.
Yeah.
Sorry.
you know, I hung out at the crow's nest and I left early. How do I? What does that look like? It's like
Oh, I point out the scar, and you describe what made it.
Yeah. How do you just? How do I assist?
You roll your intimidate, and if you get high enough, then Viper will get the assist bonus, which,
Okay.
due to your connections, will be
plus
+3. Yeah.
So that's a 17.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So Viper, you will get the +3.
All right, so let's see what happens here. 11. How about an action die on that?
Yeah. Throw on your action die.
Yeah, it exploded.
So 11 plus 9 is 20.
Nice. Okay. So your description of the sea devils and them hauling your crew into watery deaths but via harpoon, and the brute that with the massive claws and teeth ripping into Viper, the spellcaster slinging the spear, the astral coral at you all. I think that you can see, like, Violet doesn't pale because of the fur and the scales, but you can see her visibly gulp as you are describing this. And she says, I see. Well, I will, of course, be remaining on the ship while you go ashore until things have been made until there's the all clear. And then I will come ashore and earmark any potential resources that my family can potentially extract.
Now, surely your grandfather would not let you out into the world without some sense of self-defense. And we, of course, will do our very best to defend you at all opportunities. But there's always the chance, when adventuring, when going out into the world, of getting isolated.
Mm-hmm.
Can you deal with that? Are you prepared to defend yourself?
I have had some fencing lessons over the years. I think you actually, like, as you see that, you realize that, like, she is unconsciously sort of fiddling with the rapier at her belt.
Oh, she can carry a weapon.
Oh yes.
Of course.
You can see that she has a rapier and, like, a main gauche on her belt.
What is
All
a
you have
main
to do
ghost?
It's
is parrying dagger.
Oh, okay.
All you have to do is be able to pay for a permit.
Right. Or, failing the permit, just pay for the fines.
Yeah.
I love it. God. Um, well, that's excellent to hear. Um,
I was like, well, as long as you're fully informed.
Yes. I understand the dangers. You have made them quite clear. And I am prepared to face them uh, uh, in so far as my capacity as a potential investor warrants.
well, we'll be in town for a few days. I warrant. So you'll have plenty of time to come in and see the ship for yourself. And
Excellent. I'll be able to arrange for my quarters.
well,
That was in character.
I'm afraid there is not a whole. Everyone kind of sleeps together in a big old heap.
Excuse me? What?
I'm joking, of course, but the quarters are not quite so formal.
I'm joking, of course. I have quarters.
Define informal.
Let's call them a work in progress.
As you can see, and I sort of brush at my own garments. Sea life is a little bit harder on the fancier elements of life.
How
So,
you suffered.
just look at these flowers. Just shameful, truly. I really should have cleaned up better before I came. I should have expected to match your fancies. Fineries. That's fanceries?
It's a word if you say it's a word.
If you say it with conviction, we'll believe you.
Well, thank you very much. I think you do yourself a disservice. Your skirt looks lovely.
Oh, bless you. That's very kind.
Well, if I will be joining the crew, I will arrange for my things to be moved onto the ship. Then, and Ingirl is just like nodding along, and says, "Yes, it's most good that you'll be joining the crew of the Quod Libet."
Well, Ingrid, can I speak to you for a second?
Absolutely. And she gets up and is like looking at you.
Meet me in the kitchen for a second. Would you like some tea, dear? I look both to Viper and to I forgot her name.
Violet.
Violet.
Ingrid says,
Should I stay here or?
Oh, you stay put, dear.
Ingrid says, "Splendid idea. The kettle was running low. I'll put on another pot," and heads to the kitchen with you. So you reach the kitchen.
Just quietly close the door.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have some good news, which is that our trip was very fruitful.
Now, when people start a sentence with "I have good news," usually that implies that they have a follow-up, which is "I have some bad news."
Well, we'll get to that. The good news is that we have what promises to be a very, very good business venture with a potential lumber yard in the island that we visited, whose name is escaping me at the moment, and we are currently shopping around for someone to help fund that. My thinking was I would like to bring that to the Dirtfolk Guild initially, as they aren't Broadwing.
All right. You see, that helps the lumber company, but are you getting a finder's fee for arranging this? Are you investing? I don't have the money to invest in a lumber company.
I understand that. I understand that. Which is why we are looking to partner with someone in the city. And we haven't decided who yet. And Broadway, alas, is on that list. But we are also trying to, they are friends of Vipers, and we are trying to do right by them. Friends is perhaps too light a word, they are family. And Broadwing is, as you know, deeply exploitative.
Of course.
So if we can find someone who isn't quite as exploitative, who will distribute that to the people in a better way, as the Dirtfolk Guild are equipped to do. We are also looking at some other investors who I'm not sold on yet, but
All right. There are some issues with that.
I'm listening.
Yes, I have not been idle while you all have been gone.
Of
Hence my having Violet here today. As soon as I got your missive, I sent for her.
I see.
Yes, because even if Broadwing is not part of this lumber company, her presence on your ship will help fund it. And yes, I understand the distasteful nature of bringing her along. She is also young. She puts on a good front, but word is that she is the one being sent to me because great things are expected of her, but she has no experience because she's been in the blockade all these years, since her youth. If you work on her, she could become an ally, possibly. I don't want to quite say independent of her family, but a mole within them. There's also an issue with working directly with the Dirtfolk Guild.
Really?
Yes. Word is that they are up to something with the Hidden Hand. Which, to be frank, anyone with any power is up to something with the Hidden Hand in this town. 8 years has made things a mess.
I have a question for the group. Has Madame V sworn yet? I don't remember. Like done a cuss? Like said a bad word?
I don't think so.
Okay, I
Or
will
if
continue to
it-
do that then.
No, not in character, no. Sasha has done a cuss, for sure.
That's very true. Okay, well, she wouldn't start here.
At this point, Viper opens the door and just walks between the two of you and goes into the pantry and then walks back out with like a large gourd, like a pumpkin
Like a pony.
or whatever sort of a gourd this house has, and just walks back out and closes the door behind her.
Are you just gonna bite into it like an apple? What is the plan here?
Intimidation factor.
I love the idea of, like, this is just never explained. Like, by the time the two of you come out, the gourd's just not there. There's just no sign of it. Okay.
He doesn't say anything. That's it.
You were wondering what Viper's up to.
Yeah, okay. Well, that is its own question, really. Is that something that can be avoided, or is that something that we should be uh, jumping into intentionally?
Working with the hidden hand, you mean?
Yes.
It's hard to say. Much like everyone else in this city, they're interested in their own benefits.
Do you know if decency is still a part of the hidden hand? Sorry, I interrupted.
I have no idea. All I know about decency is that she was found not guilty of treason via bringing Sparked into the city.
No such thing as justice.
Yes, I was watching the trial with great interest, as you can imagine. She had very good lawyers.
Must have. Must have.
Word is that there may have been some bribery as well, but
No.
who's to say?
Who's to say? Well, I anticipate I will have to murder her before we leave the city. So whether or not she is still involved with the hidden hand kind of affects how we deal with the hidden hand, doesn't it?
I can imagine. Unfortunately, I don't know.
Okay. That's completely fair. It was a long shot. But I mean, the question stands as to whether or not that is a thing that can be avoided, or if that is a thing that can be negotiated, or should be negotiated.
Another possibility for funding is I haven't approached them yet, but word is that the university is looking to send out surveyors and cartographers. They might be willing to help subsidize the voyages if you bring along some of their staff.
That's not bad. That does leave us free to make business entanglements as we see fit, rather than everything Violet Broadwing sees with her eyes belonging to the Broadwing family immediately.
If I may put forward a plan, which
Certainly. Always.
I have not been out like you have, I would suggest you bring Violet and the surveyors both on the ship. The surveyors, you bring a field with you. Violet, you keep on the ship until she seemed rather reticent to face the dangers.
Mm-hmm.
So you keep her in the dark, treat her like a mushroom, and then once you have something that is of perhaps limited value but would sate her interests, you bring her ashore.
Perhaps.
Perhaps you could even radicalize her. She seems rather naive, frankly. As for whether or not you want to get involved with the Dirt Folk Guild and having them invest in your friend's lumber work, I'm sure they'd be interested, and they definitely have the labor to do that task. And I think that they would treat you fairly. But
There it is.
whatever they're involved with the hidden hand, I don't know at this time, and that could come back to bite us on the ass.
Well put. I think all of that is a good plan. I hesitate to be in charge of the shaping of a young mind.
You hear a thunk against the kitchen door. That's it, just a single thunk.
Ingril looks at the door.
He also looks at the door. But I suppose
Hello?
it's not impossible.
Nothing else happens.
We will try it. We will try it.
I
I can say that much.
Something to note is that if I understand that Broadwing is not one that you would want to invest in your friend's lumber company, but at least doing so, there will be no hidden strings attached. You will get the money, he will get his share, and that will be it. There's...
I have a hard time believing that. Broadwing doesn't own half the city for no reason.
True.
But you are right in that we will at least know the terms. And Madame V pours a bunch of tea for everyone. Puts it on a little platter and carries it out.
There's a much louder thunk against the kitchen door. And Viper sort of opens it and pushes against the wall as she's pulling the dagger out of it.
Ingril...
I was teaching her how to throw it, and you see the gourd with like many stab marks in it sitting on a chair in front of the kitchen door.
Were you aiming wide? Or were you aiming for the door with people behind it?
It's a sturdy door.
We could have opened it at any time.
She knows how to throw a dagger now. It's pretty cool.
Violet says, I think I've got the hang of this. At least throwing it at a gourd anyways. I wouldn't care to rely on this skill trying to hit a sparked.
Sorry.
It's not terribly different, I say, wiping off some pumpkin juice and giving it back to her.
Ingril's just like running her hand against the like notches in the door.
Couple.
She just
It's
like
a good story, at least.
she puts one hand to her temples and rubs it. All right.
Perhaps hang a painting there.
Door.
You know, bless this mess or some such thing.
Perhaps a
Just-
picture of a gourd.
That's a fantastic idea, Ingril.
All right.
It's just wood. Viper picks up the gourd and takes a big bite out of it.
Violet just like looks at you sideways like, why would you do a gourd? Just absolute bafflement at you treating this gourd like an apple.
A hard lady.
And so Violet says, if everything's settled, I'll have my people bring my luggage to the ship then. I figure might as well get started settling in. I can find a hammock, I believe they're called.
Oh dear, you're going to have so much fun.
I am looking forward to the voyage.
Well, we have other things that we need to attend to today, but it was marvelous meeting you, and I look forward to seeing you on the ship.
Of course, Captain. I suppose I should get into the habit of that.
I suppose you ought to, yes.
I think she definitely gives you like just like the slightest narrowing of eyes when you say that.
Well, I'm going to hug Ingril's neck and say, just a delight to see you as always.
Yes, and
I hope that I see you again before we set off.
of course, I always look forward to your visits, V. Take care of yourself.
Always.
And
I say, that's my job. And then I hug her too, and I say, sorry for the door.
It's not like wood is a valuable commodity on the island or anything.
It has character now.
She says, squeezing.
Yeah.
she hugs you back, and she whispers in your ear, "I'm taking that out of your pay."
That's fair.
And so I guess the two of you depart.
Yes.
Okay. So Dorothy, what have you been up to?
Well, I wanted to make one more purchase, and I just using the buy and sell. Is that okay? The previous buy and sell?
Sure.
Because I realized I should sell dog and pick up dog, because I have enough money for an exceptional specimen of dog.
Poor dog. Hello, dog
Sorry,
2.
dog.
Listen.
For a better model.
Listen, dog is way better off without Dorothy.
That is true. I think the Hound Master is definitely like, oh, was there something wrong with this dog?
No, I just wanted
This is
better.
my favorite NPC already.
What's their name? How tall are they? What kind of food do they like?
Let's get those details after Christine is finished talking to this person.
Okay.
No, I was just looking for. Last time, when I bought this one, you said you were showing me another one, and I can afford it now, so.
Oh, that's great. All right. So what's... I'm guessing Dorothy doesn't care, but what's Dog 2.0 look like?
It's another Chow Chow, with like a slightly more golden coat. Let's see if the crew notices. It is. I don't know the breeding for Chow Chows, but it's like bred better, quote unquote.
Okay.
Maybe it's taller. I don't know.
Okay, so this is
Bigger head, thicker chest. Jowlier jowls.
More dog.
Yeah.
Where there was dog, there's more of it now.
Okay. So this is Kennel Master Wallace. He's elf, sort of like on the short, rangy side. He specializes in Chow Chows and Jack Russells. That's literally the only two breeds of dogs he sells.
Just those two. Why those two?
Most prof, clearly.
One's big
The
and
market,
one's
the
small.
market demands and he provides.
I guess, yeah.
One's for riding, one's for ratting.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I will not be getting a ratter.
Oh, come on. Foxglove could absolutely take a Jack Russell.
Yeah, but I don't want a dead dog.
Dead dog's not useful to me.
No, it's not. Thank you.
Fair. Okay. So I'm guessing Dog 2 is not getting a name as well. Okay.
Again, if anyone were to ever come up with a name for it, that would be acceptable.
All right. So Wallace takes back Dog, and returns him to the rest of the pack. Those dogs are happy to see him again.
Oh,
Um,
dog had an adventure. Dog has lots of things to talk about.
Mhm.
Dog saw the ocean. Dog saw some whales.
swam underwater.
Yeah, there was a part where dog had a what was it, a pot over his head?
No, that
That
was
was
for.
cool.
Oh yeah. Also, because you can add up to half the cost of it, I'm gonna pick up the remaining supplies needed for dog's armor. So now dog number 2 has a fancy new armor.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else anyone wants to do?
We should talk to investors.
No, he said wants to do.
Yeah, that's a good point. I kind of want to get a drink. Just kind of chill for a bit.
I'm gonna send $400 to the embassy.
It's legit.
Okay.
Return some of that investment.
Yeah. That will definitely be appreciated.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. So you are you going back to the punch bowl, or is there somewhere else that you're visiting?
I like the punch bowl. Yeah. Do you want to go? Hey, Viper, do you want to go to the punch bowl?
When do I not want to go to the punch bowl?
That's what I was hoping to hear.
Dorothy, are you going to meet up with them there, or are you still off doing your own thing?
I'm probably just off doing my own thing, to be honest.
The
Okay.
invitation stands.
What was it like announced while we split up to meet up there?
I think Madame V would have been like, yeah, I think after all the chores are done, I'm gonna go get a drink, and you're absolutely welcome if you want to come.
Okay, then Dorothy shows up.
Okay.
Yay!
Yeah. So there's of course a fight going on in the pit when you arrive.
Oh yeah.
Torpid Tenson is there in the fight. Not fighting Lance, of course, since Lance is off training with Maybell.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you're able to find seats on one of the tiers and hang out. You can see that there's, of course, a number of the crew here. I'm not sure. There was more than Lance, Rigsy, and Maybell, right? From the punch bowl that Viper hired?
Oh yeah,
I think so.
King was from here. He's a bookie. Let's see.
Yeah, so you definitely... there's definitely other people from the punch bowl that you... Former punch bowl members
Yeah,
who are now crew.
Tika Tidehunter hangs out around here all the time. That's why she knows all the gossip.
Yeah. So yeah, they definitely brought some of the other crew here. Ahmed is here and is just stinking drunk.
Yeah.
And I think a good chunk of the other crew are here as well. And he's bought them drinks. There's also like his crowd of friends who he's bought drinks for. Like he and Amel had a rough background. And I think, Dorothy, when you come in, you actually see one of Paige N's guards is amongst the people that Ahmed is drinking with.
Hmm.
And is like a very... They're chummy together. Yeah. So there's definitely a good time to be had here in the Punch Bowl by your crew.
I'm debating a couple of things. Is it? I think that I will buy the crew who is here around and then leave them alone.
Okay. All right. Why don't you give me an impress check?
Would love to. My thinking is like, you know what? You don't want to hang out with your boss after hours? Come on. Give him some fucking space. Impress, you said?
You mean
No,
you're not gonna turn your crew into a bunch of salarymen?
This has turned into mandatory socialization time.
Yeah, it's gross. I don't want to. 21.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Okay. So it's 5 silver per drink. So how much do you want to spend? And this will give you a boost because it's a bribe.
Sure. How many of the crew are here?
I'm gonna say there's 10 of them here.
Yeah, I'll drop 50 silver. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm only buying one round. Don't get it fucking twisted. But
Yeah. I mean, more than that definitely sounds less of a like, here's something nice and more of here's an obligation for you to like spend time with me. Definitely sends a different message.
It's literally Madame V being like, oh hey, it's so good to see you, and then like giving Ahmed my condolences, and yeah, here's a round for everybody else. You'll have a great evening, enjoy yourselves, and then leaving, going to the exact opposite side of the fucking bar.
You know what? So that eventually my grand scheme to not have to disguise myself every time I see people, I will cast disguise now, and see if I get tainted. I do not get tainted. Woo! And then I'm buying everyone fucking shots, and we're gonna do some shots together.
Shots.
As I'm taking the shot, it like I just toss it behind me. Because like my body's already like down there, so.
I mean, you could just toss it into your false mouth and just like out the back of your false head.
Yeah. Yeah. So I will take 50 silver away too. And I guess I should roll impress as well.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone's getting fucking shots. Especially Hanar. She's there.
Yeah, definitely after a little while, the like senior officers show up too.
And I would also like to use my charming disposition to again raise her up 5 levels. Or not level step. I don't know. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
14. Look at that. An action die. 15. They know I'm not really taking shots somehow.
15 plus bribery.
Yeah, I think that like.
Plus, I'm looking hot. I did my laundry.
Big appearance bonus now.
That's only for one scene, which was.
I know, but
yeah,
I still
Okay, I think definitely like it doesn't go over quite as well with the captain as it did with the captain. Like people still definitely appreciate it and they still like you more, but
Yay!
But they're like, this is starting to feel a little like weird.
Well, I
They're
also
like,
think that like
hey, get it, you have money.
I think it was also kind of that like Dorothy keeps to herself on the ship and like people have seen her maybe once. So she's just coming up to all of them like fucking shots, man. And so it's kind of weird because they kind of know who she is, but they kind of don't.
Yeah, it's like an acquaintance or like a classmate or something. Be like seeing you at the bar and be like shots, or I guess more like a TA.
Oh, well, what I was actually thinking is I was at a wedding last weekend, and this very nice, very drunk guy kept buying the table that we were all at together shots, but I don't drink, so he just kept buying me shots, and I was like, I don't drink, so that someone else had to drink my shots, so I think it's akin to that, where like just like as the evening kept going on, I just kept getting more and more alcoholic beverages in front of me.
Yeah.
Sweet gesture, but weird.
Yeah, that's definitely how it comes across from Dorothy.
An autobiography.
Especially, I think, like, I don't think all of them realize that you're one of the senior officers until you go and sit with the captain and Viper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm like weirdly aggressive about it. Where it's like, you gotta do this shot. You have to. People are weird about shots.
Yeah.
They are.
So,
Or maybe I just fucking iced them. It's still relevant.
so yeah, Bearme and Maybell, and I think Maybell brings the people she was training here. So all the singers show up along with Lance, and it's not long before there's music and singing going on in the punch bowl as the fights continue and Lance gets in the pit.
Oh, Lance.
My boy.
Yeah, I think people definitely cheer when they see him get into the pit, an old favorite.
He's been gone a whole week.
Yeah, but in punch years, that's like, how many
Forever.
fights missed?
Yeah. I'd like to keep my head on a swivel. My head's on swivels, for Decency and her crew.
Give me a search check.
Would love to. Search. Of which I have no ranks.
So that's a 15, since you have no ranks.
Well, I have no ranks.
Yep. Yeah, okay, so you look around and you don't see any sign of Decency or any people of hers that you can recognize. It seems like it's all just friends and strangers here.
Is Page End here?
Yeah, I think they're up on like the highest tier. Like sipping a glass of wine. But there's two bouncers standing near, just in front of their table.
I'm sending him a shot.
At some point, Viper's leaned back in her chair and cuts an eye over to Dorothy and then up to Page End and says, "Do you think they got anything on Decency?"
Oh, they certainly do.
Do you think they
Think it's anything we can afford?
How much do you value your time?
I'm not.
They charged
I'll
me
just
18. They charged me 18 hours to say that they had no information. So,
All right, I'd rather just take an axe in the back.
Do you think that Decency is still in the organization? Like, if we take her out, does that get us worse with the Hidden Hand?
I don't know. I know Page End isn't particularly fond of Decency, but they also don't really want to mess with her side of things. I mean, I know you probably have something that they would want.
I do.
It's too bad stunning good looks are non-transferable.
And I think, like, a hand goes to the mummified finger that's hanging from Madame B's neck.
That's a power play.
Yeah, it is. it might be worth knowing. I don't know. And then she's like, I'll have another drink and I'll think about it.
Might
Well,
not talk. Oh, go ahead.
What are the hands again? There's violence. There's smuggling, which is probably less powerful now.
Information and vice. It's smuggling / theft.
Oh. I would say trade that for protection, but you'd need protection from...
The one who's good at violence, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was talking about this with Ingram earlier. It seems like most of everyone who has any kind of sway, except for the most reprehensible factions, are in bed in some way or another with the hidden hand. And I wonder if it's something we can avoid or something we should try to engineer in our favor. I wanted to pose that to you too.
To be clear, with the noise of the punch bowl and the music and singing, no one is going to hear you of your discussion except for those at the table, which is you three plus Hanar, Baramy, and Maribel.
I didn't realize they were here. Because Dorothy's definitely been talking as if they're not.
Has your disguise just slowly been fading?
No, I have a pocket watch. That's why I got a pocket watch, because I know exactly how long it will last.
Oh, that was smart.
So that
Slick.
the GM can't catch me and be like, how do you know it's been 50 minutes? Maybe it slipped. No. Pocket watch.
You paint me out to be a very different GM than I think I am.
No, I'm just very paranoid. I guess I'm preparing against how I would GM, which is definitely 100% to the rules. And looks like you forgot to carry the one, didn't you?
And insight reveals itself.
Listen, how can you have fun at the game if you're not following the rules exactly?
There are rules to this game?
So anyway, Dorothy has her pocket watch, which she checks frequently.
People are definitely going to start thinking that it's just a weird tick of yours.
Oh yeah, or a way of stunting. When did you guys get here?
Just a few moments ago.
Yeah, I'm normal. So what's this
That's totally a normal and cool thing to say.
I too sleep.
They definitely just think Dorothy's drunk.
What's up, fellow sleepers? I had a great time eating food today. Did you eat food today too? I'd love to do that.
The normal register.
I've consumed so many liquid intoxicants.
Yes. Hi. It's good to see you.
Are you impersonating our friend?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Fuck it, I'm telling this story. Friend, when we were at his house and he got a bit tipsy and then he was ordering pizza, so he was very clear that he was not intoxicated on the phone because they don't let you order pizza when you're drunk.
Totally not true.
No, they wouldn't give him pizza if they knew that he had a bit too much to drink.
That sounds like a thing I would believe about Canada.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, as you were saying, Madame V.
Not something that was true, just something that Adrian would have believed.
Madame V, you were saying about...
As I was saying.
Yes. should we get into bed with the Hidden Hand? I myself would never do business with them.
Obviously.
What did Dorothy just spill?
I spilled some of Viper's wine. Sorry, Viper.
Fine, I was done with that one anyway.
Just broke a glass.
Not your kind of wine? Do you not like reds?
Yes. Well, I don't think that they I don't think they do good business myself.
I would agree with you. The thing is that they do a lot of business.
Yes, but now we have access to many more people. We don't have to necessarily deal with their business anymore.
Here's the thing, a lot of those many people are already doing business with the Hidden Hand.
No, I'm speaking about other islands or even other continents if we were to go that far.
Sure, in the broadest sense. But what is the issue here is that we're trying to establish something. I suppose we could just leave Enclave entirely if we wanted to go independent. At the moment, we are not, though.
Just kidnap Violet Broadwing.
Oh, that's another thing to say, is that we have a Broadwing on board now.
That definitely gets a low whistle out of Hanar.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, now that we're actually talking about it, do any of you three have any associations with the Hidden Hand or know of any crew members who do? No judgment, just
No judgment.
want.
I'm gonna judge you a little bit.
A little bit of judgment from Viper, but she doesn't pay you. I do.
Sometimes you need information. Like my friend.
I think Hanar and Maybell both like nod. Hanar says, "I haven't worked for them in years, but I have done smuggling with them in the past."
Hanar.
Well, if we're laying our cards on the table, I haven't always been a legitimate sailor.
You're not a legitimate sailor now.
I don't know how to sail, actually.
Do you still have do you have any debts with the Hidden Hand?
No.
Okay.
Those were paid off years ago.
Happy to hear it.
Mabel.
I have trained a number of their folk over the years. I have no standing debts with them.
That's also good to hear.
But I will say that if decency is a concern, I did hear that the three of you had some hand in her arrest. I have seen her over the years, trained her people, some of them. And she is no joke. She is very determined and resolute.
Yeah.
And patient.
See, that's the part that bugs me.
I'm not surprised that her patience bothers you, Viper.
It's totally in character. Hey, one more just ask talking and answering random questions that have no connection really to what is going on. What do you guys think of like haunted objects or anything? Like, is that like weird? What do you think?
I think at like this entire conversation, Bearamy is just like not quite aghast, but like, you know, he is not the rough and tumble sort. um, he is a good boy.
Aw, Barry.
Barry.
He and he says, haunted objects?
Yeah. Yeah, I have like a friend who like had to work with one of those I think that they're called like soul captures or unborn or whatever, and like they didn't want to work with them anymore. I was wondering.
Madam V is
I'm
watching Dorothy with great interest.
I'm drunk. I'm just saying what I'm thinking. What do you guys think of, like, would you guys like to work with that? You guys like work with that?
I think they're very, very interesting.
Bearamy says, well, I am on the ship for new experiences, so I mean, so long as they weren't dangerous, I guess it would be fine. And Hannah says, cursed objects are not something to be toyed with, regardless of how intelligent they might be. And
Really, curse is just a better perspective.
I suppose that's true, but spellcasters, they all...
Ugh.
Now, I'm no academic, but my understanding is that those who do magic get their powers through dark means.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that sometimes it's, just along the family line, but yeah.
At least with assassins and cutthroats, you can understand how they're going to harm you.
Yeah.
And Maybell looks at Hannah and says, I think you're being too hard on those who deal in the strange and the weird. Why, the potions that I cook up aren't so far removed from the spells that they cast.
Actually, yeah, I meaning to ask you about that. Like, what kind of dark shit did you do?
Wow.
She says, you really are drunk, aren't you, Ms. Dorothy?
Yes.
She says, I did no dark things. My knowledge comes from the university.
Okay. I mean, the last university people that we had, like, they got their knowledge from dark things. They tortured a person and kept them in captivity.
And you're like hemming and hawing, she says, I have a doctorate.
And how many dead bodies did you have to play with to get that?
Dorothy, would you like to get us another round of drinks? I think I'm on empty. Would you be a dear?
Mm-hmm. Listen, I would just like you to take it from me. Don't trust magic people. And I'm just trying to figure out just how magical she is.
What a great thing. Can you get me another red, actually? That's what I'm feeling right now. Thank you.
Okay.
So
I'll go get in a red.
okay. Once Dorothy's out of earshot, Maybell says, well, I'm never going to admit it to her now, but definitely a number of bodies. You have to understand how people work to properly cook a potion.
No, I took a couple of courses out of curiosity.
I touch a
get it.
couple dead bodies. It's fine.
Cadavers for medical science.
Yes, exactly.
Honestly, I do
And-
apologize.
And of course, the, odd prisoner purchased by the university.
Oh, sure.
That is more dubiously ethical. I hope that you know that.
It was approved by the ethics committee. They were due for execution anyways. Why not make it a learning experience? That's how they justified it anyways.
It does sound like they justified it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. How's the fight going?
I think Torpor's winning because Lance is a bit tired from the training he was doing. He jumped the gun a bit when he got
Yeah.
in there.
That's fair.
And
He's been out for so long.
A whole week.
and he'll probably be regretting participating in this fight during tomorrow's training.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Maybell says as much. Lance is going to grumble lots tomorrow.
So, as for the rest of the crew, do you know if they have entanglements with the hidden hand?
I
Unfortunately,
thought you were going to say problems with ghosts.
I mean, yes.
Well, one of them at least has seen a ghost. Domino Blessed has seen a ghost before.
Right.
I don't know who amongst the crew has any connections. I'll certainly keep an ear out for that. I have suspicions, considering who Ahmed is having his wake with over at the bar. It would not surprise me that he has some connections with the Hidden Hand.
Fair.
And Hanar says, I know that who's one of the sailors?
Egg.
Yeah. I know that Odd has definitely done some work with the hand. I've done smuggling alongside him in the past, part of the reason that I trust his abilities as a sailor.
I think I noted that Odd was her son, actually. So.
It's not in the description,
Oh, okay.
but that can also be true.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
So there are a few of us amongst the crew, but as was pointed out, a lot of people get involved in the hand over time.
They certainly do. It is not a judgment. It is simply good to know.
I think Hanar looks at Viper pointedly and says, "You said, at least, Captain, that you wouldn't judge."
I also said earlier I'm planning to take an axe in the back because I don't want to deal with them. So,
I guess I'm just better than all of you.
Yeah.
Lawful good Viper over there.
Some of us value, I don't know, our time more than our bodies, I guess. I'm not sure how that math works out. I'm kind of tipsy.
Well, I'm glad that you've had the opportunities that haven't put you into the path of the hand over your years here.
Do either of you know whether or not decency is back with the hand or not?
Hanar looks to Maybell And Maybell says, I have heard nothing about decency since I came ashore, but we've only been here a few hours, of course.
This is true. If you could keep an ear to the ground, I'd be much obliged.
Of course,
I need to-
Captain.
I need to know the repercussions of beating her again.
Knowing her, though, she's likely gone to ground.
Ha! Dorothy says, coming back. Because she's a tree. Got it.
Thank you, dear. Take the wine.
I took some sips. With my human mouth.
I think that Maybell and Hannah and Bearamy definitely take that as a, like... not of like Dorothy being like, I too am human, but in the very much like, I have
I'm
different
not a tree.
mouths. Yeah, exactly. I'm not a tree. There's definitely a bit of like collar pulling from Bearamy, like. Maybell says, I don't... Decency is, as I said, patient. She is also thorough, as noted by the ship we just spent a week on. She is likely to bide her time until you forget to watch out for her.
I don't much like that.
Yeah, see? Patience is a motherfucker.
I don't know what to tell you.
Can she be drawn out?
You could threaten any holdings she has, but seeing as she's the finger of violence, I don't know just how many holdings she has, other than trusted people. And my understanding is that her most trusted people were arrested alongside her, or died in the raid. Of course, they're not called the Hidden Hand for nothing. There could be people she has that were not part of that group.
Well, thank you. That's very valuable information.
On that note, where are the three of you planning on sleeping during your stay here?
Yes, I've given a lot of thought to that.
I've given precisely 0.
Well, I reckon either back on the ship, or I might go back to Ingral's. Or depending on how the night goes, if we get truly wild, we can sleep here. I am tempted to stay with the ship when possible.
The training rooms and facilities in the basement are for fighters only.
I can
wanna
fight.
Should go and fight.
I can fight.
Maybe,
I'm not going to win, but I'll fight.
Maybell laughs at that. I think she has like a soft tinkling laugh. And she says, Captain, I am the former pit chief here. My word could get you in sleeping amongst the fighters. You would not need to actually fight.
Oh, but what would the other fighters think of me?
Admittedly, probably less of you, except for those of us who are crew.
I would like to point out that if wherever you in particular stay, but to extension all of us, we're going to put the people we surround ourselves with at risk. She's the hand of violence, not careful assassination.
Well, I suspect they are at risk already.
I mean, if you go and bunk with the fighters, then they're more at risk than if we weren't down there.
True. That does make them.
We get the punch bowl burned down. I'm going to be hella pissed.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the offer. I do. I suppose it won't be here then. Ingrals at least know very well, and the ship has 2 ballistas on it now.
Yes, and I do have guards on it, so that's also that. It's unlikely that the ship will be burned down if she wants it back.
True. I guess it depends on how the night goes. I did bring Gentleman Moose with me from Ingrals.
You
So
buy
it really, it truly does not matter how trashed I get because I have a ride home.
Designated driver.
Mabel nods and she says, "Well, the offer remains if necessary."
Bless you.
Well, you have a bed on the boat. The boat's a lot less likely to still be there in the morning if we're on it. But more likely, kind of tipsy.
Where's your logic? Please show your work. What are you talking about?
It's harder for them to steal it if I can punch them while they're trying to do it.
Oh, good call.
Where are you 3 bunking down?
Mabel says, "Well, I was planning on spending the night here. My husband is the owner after all." And Hannah says, "I'll find someone to go home with, I'm sure." Bearme looks and says, "I was just planning on staying on the ship. I sold my house."
Oh.
You sold your house?
Dorothy does just move to reach out to touch his hand, but then realizes that she doesn't have the physical hand. So just touches her chest, I guess. Just
He says,
Guys, we have to protect Barry.
He says, "Yeah, I'm sick of this town. It's why I got on the ship."
I'm gonna protect you.
Thanks. I thought that was the whole point of the crew. We all look out for each other.
Yeah, but I extra protect. Emotionally.
Bearme, you will never have your heart broken as long as you stick with us.
That's good to
Nothing but
hear.
joy and beauty from here to the horizon.
Well, that's what I signed up for, the horizon.
Oh, Bearme. So glad to have you on the crew.
Oh, thank you, Captain. And is there anything else anyone wants to do in this scene?
I don't have anything further. I figured I would start yelling at the pit for a while.
Okay. So y'all can add 1 connection to all of your clocks. Except for the other players, not Ingrals. Which I believe completes 2 of your clocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Who?
Madam V and Viper at 4.
Yeah. So your connection clocks reset. Don't delete your beliefs though. What level is everyone? Forget.
I think we're 5 still.
Mhm.
Okay, so you both get 250 XP for completing this clock. Or
To 1,308.
yeah. And then reset your clock. Or before that, ask each other, since you both completed a clock about the other one. Ask a question related to one of your beliefs, and then answer it truthfully.
Okay. I can go over my my beliefs with Viper.
Yeah, maybe actually, just before you do that, to be clear, this answer isn't like necessarily something that is spoken aloud. It could be something you pick up on through like spending the evening together in the punch bowl, or something you overhear, or lots of different ways to frame it. But yeah, what are your beliefs with Viper?
Viper's moral concept of the world extends to what she can reach with her fists and no further. It's very easy to fall in line with Viper's instincts, which tend to make diplomacy the third or fourth choice. This is dangerous for very clear reasons. And Viper feels as strong in the pit as I do on the stage. If we balance each other's weaknesses, nothing can stop us.
So what do you want to ask?
I don't know what my question is.
Do you want a moment to think while Hadrian reads Viper's beliefs for V?
I would like that, yes.
Okay, so
All right. With Madam V, Viper's beliefs are Madam V cares more for what people think of her than she cares about people.
That's so hard.
One is if people like me are the bullets, Madam V is the rifle. She has a preternatural ability to inspire action. I hope her aim is true. And the third one is Madam V strides with confidence like no other, but I worry that she may not be able to take the pain of a stumble. I will clear her path.
I don't know what the question is.
Christine, did you add another tick to your beliefs with V and Viper?
I wrote it down to do later.
Okay.
I have to figure out what I think of them.
I'll just add the ticks to your clock on the sheet now.
Okay.
You have anything, Hadrian?
Well, I would ask whether or not my first belief itself is true. Does Madam V care more for what people think of her than she actually cares about people's well-being? You're all like, so harsh, so harsh. How could you write something so cruel?
I never said that.
I think she does care about people more than people's opinions, but they are inextricably linked for her.
Mm-hmm.
There's like the way that she gauges people and what they need is tied to what they think of her and how she acts around them. And I think that's like the way that that's shown is like the various ways that she interacts with the crew and like the ways that she tries to solve problems with them.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that she interacts with you and Dorothy. like she takes more time with you than she does with the crew or the officers. And very much gives a shit about what you think of her. Yeah.
Okay. So clear your clock down to 1 tick, and then write a new belief based upon what you've learned about Madam V. All right. Sasha, do you have a question for Viper?
I don't at the moment. Can I defer that to a different time?
Okay. Give it some thought.
Yeah.
All right. Hadrian, do you have a new belief right on hand, or do you need time?
I'm gonna need a bit to.
Understandable. Okay. With that, and I think we will leave our heroes and the senior officers to their enjoyment of the punch bowl for this evening. And I will take us back to the talk screen. So, thank you everyone so much for joining us on this shore leave adventure. We will be back again next week at 6 p.m. EST on this channel. I am your host and GM, Austin Ramsey. You can find me on Twitter at NotAnIn, which is where you can also find You Don't Meet in an Inn, an actual play podcast about exploring obscure tabletop role-playing games with a rotating cast. And it is the presenter of this stream. You can also find my game design work at austin-ramsey.itch.io. This evening, I've of course been joined by Christine.
Hi, I've been Christine. I am the creator of the You Don't Meet an Inn podcast, and I can sometimes be found at Not an Inn on Twitter, but usually I'm pretty quiet.
Thank you. Also with us is Sasha.
Hi, I've been Sasha. You can find me on Twitter at Sasha_Renil. You can find all my game dev stuff at tcabbage.
Thank you. And of course, last but never least, Hadrian.
That's me. I'm a Hadrian. Find me on Twitter at Hadrian, and feel free to get in my mentions, and I'll send you some videos of some homemade rockets.
Ooh, okay. I'm in. I want to see that trebuchet.
Yes, please.
Do you have any footage of it?
I don't have any videos of trebuchet. Sadly.
Secret trebuchet.
I have cannons and rockets.
An offline trebuchet.
Offline trebuchet, yeah.
All right. So, once again, thank you for joining us. We will see you again next time. But until then, I just want to remind everyone...
Meet me in the pit, decency. Fight me in the streets.
Don't piss off the mob.
If you piss off the mob, finish the job.
Ah.
Hey!
Don't get sparked.
Papa.